It's completely up to them. I mean, I think that there are a number of nonprofits out there that have been working very, very hard to try and publicize the many alternative ways we could be organizing our economic system. And there are many creative solutions out there for the problems we're facing. Organizations are pushing those ideas. That's fantastic. Organizations which are just trying to put band-aids on the status quo, not so useful.
I feel like nonprofits have their place. They do a really great job of gathering people together and bringing them and feeling structured and organized, because people really do feel comfortable with structure. But I feel like they have a limit because there are so many rules that come along with being a 501c3. Like you cannot get arrested, you can't have occupations, you can't do things like this. And I feel like this is the type of strategy that actually works.
Actually, I'm a board member of a nonprofit, and they are not the problem. They just need to be maybe more of them really fighting maybe for some of the causes. The problem is that most of them, it's kind of hard really to get some money.
Well, it all depends. It's not black and white. I mean, some nonprofits aren't actually nonprofits.
I happen to be one of the people who thinks that our entire economic system needs to be changed, which would eliminate the binary of for-profit and nonprofit.
Yeah, I think nonprofit organizations historically have been part of the solution, and there may be some abuses in some sectors, but I think by and large a nonprofit is a great way to get a group of like-minded people together.
I belong to a little organization where I live in Maine, where we try to provide heating assistance, and I think they're great.
Definitely a part of the solution. No, I'm not as educated on the ins and outs of them as I could be, but right, how could it not be a part of the solution?
I think it's actually a really good question. I think that a lot of nonprofits have within them the capability to be really beneficial to offering institutional change, but they also can easily get caught up in like working on financing themselves or working on becoming institutions in themselves. I think that the best nonprofits are the ones that want to accomplish a goal and then disappear. Now, I mean, if that goal is eradicating poverty, you're going to be there for a long time.
Because you got to realize a lot of these nonprofit organizations actually turn out to be profit organizations. So I think it's more cancerous.
As far as NGOs, I've worked for NGOs all my life. The last one was the Cooperative League of the United States of America, the oldest cooperative development agency in the United States. 1914. They're based in Washington, D.C. And I think the cooperative movement is an alternative. Ben and Jerry's, that's a good business. We're not against capitalism here, but we think cooperatives have a big role to play. And if the NGOs can do something like cooperatives, but there's a lot of work for the NGOs.
As far as how a nonprofit could be part of the solution, I feel that there definitely are some good ones out there with some really great people involved with them. And just spreading knowledge about what actually is going on, I feel is the most important thing.
I guess I would just say the other thing about nonprofits is that they do their best work when they do it in solidarity with the communities they're trying to help, and where those communities then get to direct the projects that are going on.
Nonprofits as a group of organizations are really working for the better. I think there are probably corruption exists in some level of some larger nonprofits, but I would not condemn them as a whole. I've got a sister and family and friends who are very much involved with nonprofits, and I think generally their heart is in the right place.
My one issue with nonprofits is that if they get large enough, they can become as hierarchical as government organizations, and I think that we need to take a lot of steps to prevent that, even though that's a slow and painful process. I think it's important. If we want to replace the system with a new and more democratic system, it has to start from the ground up. So
the fact that they're not taxed to death like most small businesses like myself, I think they're part of the solution, and I think we need more of those.
I think it's a tricky question. It depends on what nonprofit. There are some nonprofits that do, work for good, and like to support movements such as, as this, such as all the donations that have been sent here. It's not necessarily a nonprofit right now, but And then there's also nonprofits that are just scams.
They're schemers. Scammers. Do nonprofit right here. Take care of me and put me in a loft. You're schemers. You're taking all my money. Now I'm going to take it back right now. Give me that microphone.
The idea of nonprofits, improving people's standard of living, giving them some stability in their lives, giving them an opportunity to educate themselves and to do the things and pursue the things that they love and to spend time with the people they love. I think that is how a nonprofit would improve the situation.
I've worked for nonprofits most of my adult life, and so I know there's a critical need.
Most nonprofits are there solely to do good and pick up where the government is lacking. I mean, they provide social safety nets, which the government does not, because whilst they can't provide them because the corporations which build wealth in this nation are not being taxed properly. So I feel like they're part of the solution.
I'm hoping most of them are part of the solution. I really do. But I don't know for sure.
I'm not necessarily like anti-corporation or anti-nonprofit, and I think that when you have the right people doing the right jobs, everything can bring about a good difference.
This is a nonprofit organization, like you're in right here, right now. I think we're doing a pretty good job.